Hi everyone. Welcome to Career Launcher and to the CUET analysis. This is the English paper that we'll be discussing. It was held on the 15th of May from 3 to 3:45. Now, this paper did bring a lot of surprises to you. Uh, Major ones being that reading comprehension went up from 18 questions to 24 questions. So that means one extra reading comprehension passage was given to you. So for all those who were expecting to do a lot of grammar and a lot of vocabulary, found it a little difficult to do all those reading comprehensions. So 24 out of your 50 questions were pure reading comprehension passages. Four passages. One was slightly difficult to read, the free will one, the others were fairly easy. Apart from that, there was sentence jumbles rather, not parajumbles. And there was a bit of vocabulary that was given in the paper. Grammar, hardly any presence. And letter writing, hardly any presence. Figures of speech, hardly any presence. Let's take a look at the paper and let's quickly go through the solutions also. So here's the reading comprehension section. Let's start. So for questions 1 to 6, this passage was a very interesting one. This was essentially a passage about a writer. So I'll quickly take you through the passage and then we'll discuss the questions also. So I was in my late teens and still undecided about which language I should write in. He told me that the language one is born into, one's mother tongue, can be the only possible medium of creative expression. So there is somebody who's telling the writer what language they should write in, and they very forcefully say that your mother tongue can be the only possible medium of creative expression. For most of his life, my father, Sripat Rai, had been a Hindi editor and critic. Off and on, he translated writings into English from Hindi. He was fond of saying that a failed writer becomes a critic. So apparently, he must have been a writer. He didn't do well as a writer, and therefore he became a critic. The weight of his literary expectation came eventually to rest on me. So he was expecting to become a writer. He didn't. So therefore, he's expecting his daughter or his child to become a writer. He seemed happy that I was showing an inclination for writing. She will go far. That means she could become a good writer. He told my mother after reading the first story that I sent him from Melbourne. My father's pronouncement on the mother tongue stayed with me when I later started writing fiction in Hindi. So she was continuing to write fiction in Hindi because what the father had said, she remembered. Another thing I barely acknowledged even to myself was that I felt something like shame. She was ashamed whenever she thought of writing in English. It seemed wrong for a daughter of Premchand even to be thinking so. She is granddaughter of Premchand, and therefore she feels it's wrong. Our family had a certain linguistic pride. I knew that Premchand was famous, but I had not at that time realized the extent of his popularity. The fact that I was the granddaughter of Premchand followed me everywhere. Everyone had a story to tell about their personal engagement with his fiction. The shopkeeper, the long-time cook, and so on. The list was long, for there was practically no one who had not read something by him that had moved them. So he was a very popular, very inspirational writer. However, it was this very ubiquity, the reverence and love that he inspired in people that made of him something too large for me to comprehend in the early years of my life. So author found it very difficult. The ubiquity, the love and reverence that Premchand had got from the people. So she was not able to accept that and understand that. It also led to the strange feeling that without having read him and just by being related to him, I had somehow inhaled his writing. So she had become as good a writer as he had. The reading happened much later. So she did read about her and of her grandfather much later. Let's look at our questions. Question number 1. The author grew up with the expectation that she would take up creative writing. The father's expectation was very, very clearly mentioned. Question number 2. When the father said she will go far, he meant that she will achieve great heights in life, that she would become a good author. Question number 3. Choose a statement that's not true. The author felt pressurized to write in Hindi. This is true. She felt obligated to carry on the legacy. Is true. She was awe in the extensive reach of her grandfather's writing. Well, she was in awe is not really mentioned anywhere in the passage. So therefore, this is the false one. So family was chauvinistic about the language. Yes, it's true. So answer will be D. Question number 4. Premchand became too large for her to understand, mainly because he was able to connect with people and he had a lot of love and reverence that he was inspiring. So answer will be A and C only, option number B. Question number 5. Inhale his writing essentially means to imbibe his style subconsciously, and therefore correct answer will be A. Question number 6, ubiquity, of course, we means something being present everywhere. So omnipresence is the correct answer. Let's go to the second passage for questions 7 to 12. This passage is about free will. The fact that free will is the ability to decide and act free from any influences of past events or environment. It implies complete freedom to make any choice, absolutely. And it very clearly said that we clearly don't have free will. Why? Because our decisions and actions are never divorced from our past. We have a conditioned mind. Our memories, past impressions, and experiences bias and shape our thoughts and action in the present. It's our karmic imprint. That's our karma. Not just what we are born with, but also what we accumulate while living. We can consider it as the result of our genetic code, upbringing, and environment. It's our backstory. The only way to experience free will is to get rid of all such conditioning. So if you want to experience free will, you have to get rid of all such conditionings. What are these conditionings? To neutralize our karmic imprint, to be independent of our psychological coding. Now that's possible only if we purify our mind by letting go of all our ego, attachment, and fixed beliefs. Then we can reside in the truth of our being. Okay. The above is an exacting definition of free will. Exacting means very particular. Okay. What we commonly mean by free will is that we have a choice in most situations, like who you will choose to marry, what profession you will pursue. So free will commonly means whatever you can choose and pick. Sounds reasonable, but here's the catch. So here is the problem. Our ability to make that choice too is significantly restricted, dictated by our predisposition. So things that were already in our mind, they stop us from, thinking a certain way. This applies even to our ability to bring about change within ourselves. So even our ability to bring about change is also, dictated by our predispositions. Despite a strong resolve to be calmer, kinder, and less anxious, our ability to manifest that change depends partly on our emotional and mental wiring. That's why some people succeed in such efforts more than the others. So if you want to expand the scope of your agency, if you want to do more, you have to explore ways to engage in sustained inner work, deepen your self-awareness, examine and reform your conditioned beliefs. So there's so much that you need to do if you wish to expand the scope of your agency. But then I wonder if your inclination to embark on that journey too depends on your current karmic coding. So everything kind of depends on your karmic coding. So here is question number 7. The author argues that humans don't have free will because our decisions are shaped by our past events and environmental influences. We are born with predetermined choices we are forced to make. We are always dictated by our mind to make irrational choices, and they're born slaves of social constructs and expectation. I'll just very quickly take you here because our actions and decisions are never divorced from our past. Okay. So correct answer will be because our decisions are shaped by past events and environmental influences, and that's the correct answer. Okay. Question number 8, karmic imprint is our genetic coding, upbringing, and environment. Question number 9, free will can be experienced if we let go of our ego, attachments, and fixed beliefs. So that's your correct answer. Question number 10, the author proves the idea of free will is a myth by suggesting that our ability to make a choice is also restricted by our predispositions. Question number 11, what does the author propose as a means to expand the scope of one's agency? Is to engage in sustained inner work and self-awareness. So that was also given very, very clearly in the passage. Question number 12, what would be a suitable title? Do humans really have free will? That should be a good suitable title for this passage. Passage number 3, questions 13 to 18. Very interesting passage about chocolate. So on a chilly winter evening, nothing really warms you up better than a cup of hot Cocoa. Chocolate was first consumed in liquid form by the Olmec people. It was even enjoyed by the Aztec Emperor Montezuma, and the Aztec word for it, Ziotlatl, pronounced shockquatl, evolved into the word chocolate. Oh, that's interesting. But the Aztecs did not serve their cocoa hot. And since sugar had not arrived from Europe back then, it was often flavored with peppers and spices. So it must not have been as indulgent, as yummy as it is now, but it was more portable. That means you could take it from one place to another, if you believed, as the Aztecs did, that chocolate was a gift from gods and had healing properties. After the Spanish arrived in the Americas, liquid chocolate made its way across the pond. Across the pond means it came to the Europe. Okay, so from America it went to Europe, where wealthy Europeans added sugar and drank it warm. In chocolate history, culture, and heritage, Bertram Gordon says hot chocolate became the beverage of aristocracy. Wow. As sugar was still a luxury. So now the rich people are having chocolate. Soon enough, though, hot chocolate caught on with the masses. It became popular. Caught on means become popular. Chocolate houses, a cross between cafes and casinos, started popping up around 17th century. In these lively places, hot chocolate was poured from gilded pots into pots, my God, not post, into elegant cups. For a posh experience, one can still find it today at the famed Parisian tea room Angelina's, which is also in New York City. But by the end of the 18th century, chocolate houses had mostly died off because the cost of chocolate was much higher than coffee and tea. Taking a tour of international cups of cocoa, Italians serve it like a thick pudding, Colombians serve it with a dollop of soft cheese, Mexicans punch it out with vanilla, chili powder, and cinnamon, and Filipinos serve it with mango chunks. Passage was fairly easy to read and very interesting because it was about chocolate. Question number 13, here we go. Cocoa was first introduced by the Olmec people, very clearly mentioned in the passage. Question number 14, the Aztec people made it palatable by spiking it with spices. They didn't have sugar, okay? They were adding spices. Why did hot chocolate become the beverage of the aristocracy? Because the essential ingredient, which was cocoa, was out of the reach of the commoners, and therefore it was something that was the beverage of the aristocracy. Not 2, not 3, not C. All right, question number 16. The chocolate houses didn't survive past the 18th century because the chocolate was costlier than tea and coffee. Again mentioned in the passage. Question 17. Choose the correct statement. So Mexicans have it with a dollop of cream is incorrect. Colombians serve hot chocolate topped with a dollop of cheese is correct. Filipinos have it with mangoes, and Italians have it some other way. So the correct answer is C. Question number 18. Choose the correct meaning of the underlined expression. Okay, so caught on with the masses was the expression that was underlined, was readily available in the cafe, became popular among the commoners. Hot chocolate did not appeal to people. Masses got attracted to the rich experience of drinking hot chocolate. So caught on with the masses means become popular among the commoners, and therefore B is the correct answer. Okay. All right, this is the fourth passage. So 19 to 26. This was about coffee and specifically about coffee Arabica. So coffee's genetic makeup is no trivial concern. Trivial means small. So there's no trivial concern. That means it's a big concern. 10 million tons of the crop were grown and sold in 2022-23. Imagine. The coffee we drink comes from two species, coffee canephota, which is also known as Robusta, and coffee Arabica, known as Arabica. Okay. In most cases, beans from the two species are blended to make a brew, but beans of a single species are also roasted and sold. Overall, Arabica beans represent 56% of all coffee sold. So most highest selling coffee. Most genetic variation in living organisms come from hybridization. So when you mix and create hybrids, that's how you get the genetic variation. However, this is a relatively rare event for coffee Arabica. So we haven't done it because it has more than 2 copies of each chromosome, a phenomena called polyploidy. Now, Canephora has 2 copies of each chromosome, but coffee Arabica has multiple copies. So Conifer has 2 copies of each chromosome, but Arabica has more than 2 copies. This makes it much more difficult for Arabica to interbreed with other species. Now, this is a very technical one. How many chromosomes and how do you interbreed? So this was something that was tough to read. But the rest was very easy. As a result, coffee Arabica's main source of single nucleotide variation is a mutation, which occurs at a steady rate. So it is changing through mutation. However, the species is also relatively young, having formed as a hybrid of Robusta and Eugenoides, another coffee species that is not widely cultivated within the past 50,000 years. So very young. From that single plant, which has basically no variation, you create the whole species, and then the variation is only the novel mutations that have occurred since the event. Okay, so how have you created this new species? From one plant where there was no variation, you create the whole species, and then the variation happens. The variation is the only mutation. Despite this, there is substantial variation in the physical characteristics of the Arabica coffee plant, including different flavor profiles in the beans and variation in disease resistance. Say, emeritus geneticist Joan Medrano in the UC Davis Coffee Center at UC Davis. We're always talking about low variability at the DNA level, but there is variability at the structural level, at the chromosomal level, at the level of deletions and insertions also, Medrano says. So that's very interesting that there are so many variations that you can have in the coffee also, okay? Not just one way. All right, let's take a look at our questions here. Question number 19. Which of the coffee is the most sold in the world? Of course, we know it is Arabica. So answer has to be coffee Arabica. Okay, so that's the most sold coffee. Question number 20. Which coffee has more than 2 copies? Of course, it was also Arabica. Robusta has only 2. Very simple questions from this passage. Okay, which of the following is true about coffee Arabica? Let's take a look. Hybridization is the main source of its genetic variation. No. It has only 2 copies. No. It displays the phenomena of polyploidy. Yes. Not the. Again, very simple given in the passage. So all you had to do was go to the passage. Question 22. Which of the following species of coffee developed only in the last 50,000 years? Again, it was Arabica, and that had to be your answer. Question number 23. Which type of variability is not very high for coffee Arabica? This was again given in the passage, variability at the DNA level. The rest were given as variability that is happening. So answer was D. Question number 24. Choose the statement that is factually incorrect. Let's take a look at the one that is incorrect. Factually, it is possible to roast a bean. This was true. 2 species can be blended was true. Novel mutations do not occur in coffee Arabica due to its genetic makeup. Variations in disease resistance can be seen in the Arabica coffee plant. This is true. So the only one that's not true is C. Okay. So your answer. All right, let's come to question number 25. Now, here were all the other questions. So you had para jumbles, sentence jumbles, grammar, vocabulary, and so on. Let's take a look. So this one was a sentence jumble, question number 25. Okay, created by human, collective cultural heritage, all language communities are our. Okay. So let's take a look at this question and try and answer this question. So okay, so let's quickly take a look and understand. So let's take a look. So when I look at my sentence number 1, it says created by human something. So what is created? So all languages created by human communities are our collective cultural heritage. So all languages, we start with C, languages which are created by human communities, so D, and then finally B. So CADB is the correct answer. So you just have to look for what is the right beginning and then carry on from there, and then you will be able to get your answer. Let's look at the next question, question number 26. So the principal addressed us in the assembly and something the rumors of an early summer break. She's destroyed or she quashed the rumors of an early summer break. Question number 27. So here we are going to match. She was not very something with him for his offensive remarks. I have plenty of interesting books to give away to book lovers. So I'll put B and 1 as an option. And with B and 1, I get my answer as option D. So very simply, all you had to do was just spot B1. Okay. So she was very cut up. Cut up means to be very angry with him. Okay. To give away. Strange that people easily give in. They just kind of melt. And he's trying to cut down, reduce. So here were all your phrasal verbs that came in. Question number 28. I thought the restaurant would be expensive, but it was reasonably affordable. So I'll put reasonably here. Okay. So A2 is my option. Okay. It was a serious accident, but the car was hardly damaged. I'll take hardly here. The meeting was a disaster as it was badly organized. And Meera is gifted as she has the gift to learn any language quickly. So there are your answers. Choose and pick. So correct answer will be A. Question number 29. I didn't know Rahul was in the hospital. If I had known, I would have visited him. This is our third conditional, remember? Because now I did not know, so I haven't visited him. So I'm saying if I had known, past perfect and simple. And then the would have, could have with the third form of the verb. So I would have visited. So correct answer. Question number 30. Sycophant, you need the closest in meaning. So sycophant means someone who's very flattering. The answer will be C. Question number 31. Antonym for compliment. Compliment means praise. So of course, denunciation will be the correct answer. Question 32. Redoubtable, of course, is formidable. So correct answer, formidable. Question 33. Sullen is angry, but you're looking at an antonym. So, of course, genial, friendly. Sullen is somebody who's very morose. Question 34. Again, a sequence. So, our inborn, but our, what is this contrast? Constituents of flavor are learned. Our responses to basic taste. Perceptions of smell, the main, okay. All right. So our responses to basic tastes are inborn. So I'm going to start with C and then go to A. Okay. But our perceptions of smell, the main constituents of flavor are learned. So C, A, D, B should be the correct answer. Question number 35. We are matching theocracy. I know is a government that is run by God. So I know A will match up with 3. But with A3, I will get so many answers. Megalomania is somebody who thinks they're very obsessed with. Okay, so the answer here is missing. The sentence here is missing. It is somebody who thinks they're very great, right? So megalomania will be 4. Apothecary is somebody who sells drugs, is so C1. And antiquarian, of course, is somebody who collects antiques. So that is 2. Okay. So 3, 4, 1, 2. Take a look. 3, 4, 1, 2. A is the correct answer. Question number 36. A small altercation means a small fight. Okay. Ended up as a group fight. Question number 37. Let's rearrange. So for 7 hours, but was hardly something because of the absence of any motivation, able to decide who the murderer was. So she worked on the case for 7 hours, but was hardly able to decide who the murderer was because of the absence of any motivation. So DACB, that's your answer. Very simple sentence, very beautiful and very easily done. Question 38. The candidate assured the interviewers that the dip on her grades during her second semester was an anomaly, aberration, because she was a top scorer in the first semester. Question 39. For some time now, we've been toying with the idea. Toying means considering. Okay, we've been thinking about it. Question 40. At first, the workers were agreeable to the proposals of their manager, but later they reconciled. Now you're looking at the opposite here. So reconciled means they were resistant. They did not like it. Okay. 41. Again, you have to match. She was able to give some explanation in the court for her presence. Okay, so credible will work here. The Rockland Hospital collaborated with AIMS. So collaborated with AIMS to conduct a free cancer screening. So she has only shown 4% improvement in achieving her target, yet her efforts are creditable, worth giving credit to. And the doctors give the prognosis by corroborating, means checking with each other. Okay, so your answers will be A3, so A3, B1, C4, and D corroborate will be 2. So quickly, let's take a look. I think the options are a little skewed. We'll just have to check A2, B1, C4, D3. That's the correct answer. Okay. D3, not D2. This one should be D2. Okay. A3. So this is the correct answer. Please check. I don't know how when we were typing, I think probably something went wrong. So please take a look. This is the correct answer. I'm giving it to you. A, credible, believable, collaborated, work together, creditable, worth giving credit to, and corroborating, that is to agree and match. So these are going to be your answers. Whatever the option is, please check the options. I think there was some typo. Question number 42. Most of the guests arrived for the concert by bus. Question 43. Why did you make that flippant remark? Flippant means disrespectful. Okay. Rude or sassy. Question 44. The thief showed his disbelief. We are looking for an opposite, so of course, concealed. Question 45. The president finally had to, of course, give in to the demand. So exceed, which means given. Question 46. Okay, here's another sentence which you have to arrange. For organizations which provide services to customers on a face-to-face basis, employees with whom they deal is very important. And the quality of the relationship between the customers and... Okay, now take a look at this. So what should come first? What should come later? Let's take. So for organizations which provide services to customers on a face-to-face basis, the quality of the relationship between the customer and the employees with whom they deal is very important. So correct answer will be A, then B, then D, and then C. So answer A. Question 47. Okay. Again, as a concept fundamental to, especially with the injunction to treat equals equally, justice is associated with the notion of equity and equality, ethical theory and political philosophy. So what are we saying? So as a concept fundamental to ethical theory and political philosophy, so I start with A, I go to D, okay. Especially with the injunction to treat equals equally. So justice is associated. So as a concept fundamental to ethical theory and political philosophy, justice is associated with the notion of equity, equality, especially with the injunction to teach equals equally. So A, D, C, B should be the correct answer. That means option number D. Question number 48. We just have to match at the end of your tether means to be so tired and unable to do anything. So B1. Okay, to be full of beans is to be full of energy. So C4, B1, C4. I think we should get our answer very, very quickly. Option number 1. Okay. To curl up and die means you just feel terribly ashamed and embarrassed. Okay. Question number 49. Here's the edited version of her article is indistinguishable from her first version. I don't feel any affinity with his style of prose. Her ideas are not all that dissimilar to mine. It would be wrong to mistake his diffidence for his arrogance. So D4 is the correct answer. Sorry, D3 is the correct answer. So with D3, I have two choices. I'll have to take a look. C and 2 has to be the correct answer. So C and 2, therefore option number 1 will be the correct answer. My bad, guys. Question number 50, and that's the last question of our set. Here we are. So students with tools for critical thinking, cooperative learning is an, so I know this has to be my starting sentence. So cooperative learning is an eclectic and unique teaching method that enhances creativity and provides students with tools for critical thinking. So BDCA, that's the correct answer, option number B. All right, that brings us to the end of our discussion. Thank you so much. If you did find any doubts or if you do still find any doubts, you can write into us. Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.